Live from our newsroom, it's the Hard Times Podcast. With Bill Conway and Matt Sankum.
All right, Awsten, welcome to the Hard Times Podcast. How's it going?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. It's nice to meet you. I think I've interacted with you online a bit. I maybe sent you some death threats or something, but it's nice to meet you in person, or as close to person as we can get with a pandemic.
Right. I wish I got the memo on the background.
We didn't even really get the memo in the background. See, Matt had gotten his early before, and then I bought. So here's what happened to anybody watching. Matt and I have similar backgrounds, but with one key difference is that my green is brighter. Matt bought like this 50 pack. I don't need 50, So I was like, I'll buy this 24 pack, and I was looking at a screenshot of Matt's thing and looking at the Amazon description, like, perfect, this is a match. And then I got mine and they were not the same color as advertised. So wouldn't you know it?
It's good though, because Hard Times is like, it's got kind of like a camo thing going on with the aesthetic though, right? Mm-hmm. So like multiple greens is like still on brand.
Yeah.
It's our theme color, green. It looks, so the idea was we were supposed to look like we're in the same room. It did not work, but close enough.
I like it. It's good.
I've heard a lot about how you like have a theme, a color theme for your hair, each different record or something like that.
Yeah.
So, like when you shave your head, people know that you're about to drop some new stuff.
Or you're going through a breakup or something like that. It's just like,
sure, yeah, that's the thing. It's either like a full-on Britney thing, or it's like, oh, he's productive. It's either, oh, he's lost his shit, or it's, oh, cool.
I wish people noticed when I was shaving my head, it meant something. It's kind of like, it reminds me of like the Pope, when they like burn those pamphlets, like, oh, the smoke's black, we have a new Pope or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so when Matt shaves his head, it means there's a new Pope. That's kind of what he's trying to signify.
It's like a religious bat signal.
I think when I shave my head, it means the receding hairline is pretty much done and I'm giving up. I think that's where it's going.
God damn it.
But you've had a shaved head before, though.
Yeah, back in my Oi days.
Yeah,
Austin grew up in the Oi scene, isn't that right? New York hardcore.
And I grew up in Texas, getting shunned by metalcore guys and like youth crews and shit. That shit was not fun, but I still went like every weekend.
Was it like VFW hall shows or what? Where were you going?
So yeah, there were like the weird hallway ones, but then I got lucky though. I lived like less than 5 minutes from this one venue that was probably like 200 cap. And pretty much no matter who was playing, we'd like a couple friends and I would go see, and if we were lucky, they'd let us play. Mm-hmm. That was cool. We'd be like, hey, or like, sometimes we'd get calls like 30 minutes before show and be like, hey, so a bird, a sparrow's fourth opener dropped. You guys want? I'm like, yeah, dude, let's fucking go. Like,
did you have to bring like a bass cab or something? Because I feel like that's usually how those deals go. Where it's like, and also
that's how you buy it.
So can you guys bring yours over?
we would lend things. One time we lent some lights that we paid for ourselves. They were very expensive. It took a while, and then they got stolen.
Like stole the whole lighting rig.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what happened. People would load out of the back and then bring it around to their mom's car or whatever. And
so there's like a construction site somewhere in Texas that like their temporary lighting was your lighting rig.
Yeah, it would be horrible like if they were trying to make a building and it was like purple strobes or whatever. but I hope whoever got them put them to good use.
I'm thinking about someone showing back up from a show like in their mom's minivan that they had borrowed for the night with like a new lighting rig. Like if the parents aren't asking any questions, like.
Yeah.
Also, why did you guys have a lighting rig? How popular was? How many MySpace fans did you have that you were buying yourself a lighting rig?
They're like, instead of paying us in pizza, they gave us this lighting rig.
Yeah, you got different LED bulbs, and it's like, hey, all right,
exactly.
This is pretty decent.
I like bands that invest in that sort of stuff in the real early days. But there is also I've seen a couple bands who would like get a dry ice machine and then they do it in a basement with 50 people and everyone just has to leave the basement because you can't breathe. You know what I mean?
There was a venue in San Antonio that would always do that. It was the Corova. I think when the White Rabbit shut down, that place opened. and they had smoke machines in the basement, and I think you could fit 30 people in there. And you try and be courteous and stay for the other bands, but we had played. This is like 2014, and this band went on after us, and they were still doing the matching outfits and like synchronized like bobbing and stuff like that. And we're like, fuck, this sucks so bad.
Do they have like a pause where there's like a jump where they all jump?
Yes. And a lot of that actually, but they were in like matching vests. It wasn't even like the windbreakers or anything. It was like full on vests, like Joe Bros type vests. But that combination with all of the smoke, it was just like, dude, we can't fucking do this. Like, let's get out of here. Like, there's free pizza upstairs.
I one time played a show in the basement of a record store, and it was all kids my age, between 16 to 19-ish, hardcore bands. And then I don't know how, but like a pop punk band that was legitimately like 35 to 40 was also on the bill, and they were in the middle of the lineup. And I remember they had a laminated banner that they put up behind them, and all their songs were like, "It's a teenage revolution, it's a teenage revolution," and we're like, "What is this, dude?" I think they played to an empty room.
Oh my god. That sucks so bad, dude.
Like, why are you writing these songs about teenagers? It's just like a bizarre thing. Like, you're gonna have to go back to like your real estate job after this or whatever. I remember like feeling awkward for them.
Oh, god damn. Here's the thing. I like when band guys progress into better positions like that. Like, dude, the guy from Forever the Sickest Kids is a real estate guy now. Do you know that?
No, I didn't.
That's crazy. Like, I saw that a few years ago, and I was like, fucking good for him, dude.
And now when you're ever in the market, then that's the guy you call up. And it's like, hey, what's up, man? You played in this band. We might have played together. Let's get 20% off the asking price. Is that possible?
Exactly. Damn.
It's a down market, brother. Okay, okay, Awsten, you're a character who's gone from starving artist to no longer has to worry about whether or not they get a soda with their drink.
I got 3 drinks right now. Like, let's party, dude.
Okay, answer me this question. Yeah. Now, this is going to be a little controversial, so I apologize. We can trim this out later if you want.
Okay.
Burlwood, are you into it or are you not into it?
What was that word?
Burlwood. It is the ultimate luxury furniture material. You got to get into it.
Oh my god!
What the fuck are you talking about?
Let me write it down. How do you spell it?
Burlwood. After this pandemic, you and I are gonna be hanging out, and if there's not Burlwood up to my fucking gills in your place, then I'm gonna be upset. It's really cool. What it is?
This is like
oh my god! This is $4,200 for like a little fucking cabinet. Oh, I'm not.
You deserve it. Come on. Okay, so what it is it's like trees like get like infestations or rot or whatever, and they make these burls, right? And then
these are great. Oh my
they
god!
They slice them. And then they make coffee tables out of them, dining tables, but it's like an irregular shape.
Yeah. Dude, these are good. Oh, fuck you for putting me onto this. I'm gonna like next year. I'm gonna drop $3,000 on like a fucking piece of wood, and I'm gonna be like, "Fuck you, man." It looks so cool though. This is like when you're like you're in someone's house and like their parents do well back in Texas. Like they all have these tables like in the living room. Fuck.
Well, Matt's a crypto thousandaire right now, so he's just throwing out, he's getting Burlwood everything. He's going to have like a Burlwood t-shirt on next time.
Dude, they're in a pandemic. I'm in a bandemic. You know what I'm talking about?
Hey. Wait, so do you own some of this?
Some Burlwood? No, I'm in the market for it, though. I'm probably going to pick it up in the next month or so here.
I was about to say, you only brought that up so you could flex. Oh, my God.
Not yet. Not yet. I'm working my way up,
Okay. Yeah. Damn, these are nice. What the fuck? $6,000 for a fucking table. This is bullshit. I wish I didn't know this existed.
It kind of sucks, right? Because you're like, oh man, this is a cool looking table. This is gonna like set me apart. This isn't just hey, I made a little bit of money with my band. I made a little money with my band, but I also have taste. You know what I mean?
So who turned you on to this, Matt? Like, how did you get in? Like, were you listening to the Joe Rogan podcast or something?
I was staying at an Airbnb. And this dude had this incredible dining table. It looked like a stump of like a 400-year-old redwood or something like that. And I was like, what is this thing? And since then, I've been kind of seeking them out. And then I went up to Mendocino and I saw this dude in this little like workshop, and he was making them, and he makes the ones that have a river in them. Now, if you really want to get into the burl wood, you're going to need a burl wood river table. What that is it's burl wood, but they like carve out, or there's a vacant part in the middle of the table, and they fill it with blue epoxy or with blue glass, so it looks like a river.
Fuck, that sounds awesome. I'm Googling that now.
Yeah, this is real shit. So this is my recommendation to you.
This is awesome. I'm so pissed.
Pretty much, here's the thing. DIY, start a band, make a little bit of money, acquire burl wood. That's the end of it.
It's no longer buy gold. Dude, these tables are sick. Fuck. Oh, I'm going to put these on my mood board, on my vision board.
Tell me a little bit about the mood board of, I thought it was interesting you decided to direct your own video. I also really liked it. When I grew up, I'm curious about like what music videos you were watching growing up and why you decided to still do one. And also, did you guys film this thing during the pandemic? Yeah,
it was just it was very tough to kind of get that right. Cause everybody had to do the tests, and we had then we also had like day of, we had a guy doing rapid tests, and you'd check people throughout the day. It was a whole thing. And then also, to rewind a little bit, I started directing our videos during the last cycle because, I just kind of was already doing it anyway. We're like, I'd write the treatment, I would write a shot list, I would storyboard it, I would do all this stuff, and then be like, okay, and I'd be trying to get somebody to like do it exactly right. And I was like, fuck it, man, because the thing is, you go for it's basically just a matter of changing the perception from like, God damn, this band guy is so fucking annoying. Like he has so many edits. But if you're the director, it's like, the director has notes.
He's got a vision.
So exactly. So it gives you so much more leeway to get things how you want them to be. You know what I mean?
Okay. So the answer is you're a control freak. That's the answer.
Exactly. I micromanage everything. That's a real thing. Like, because when you grow up and you're doing it DIY for so long, it's like you kind of have to learn how to do everything yourself if you want things to get done. You know what I mean? Because like, even when I was like, 16 or whatever, I'd be like, hey, I'd, give some guy $20 to make a flyer, and it'd be 3 days later. And I'm like, so then
there's some Hard Times headlines about that, I think, I'm not sure if we ran this one, but Bill maybe knows it better, but it's just like flyer comes in right in time for like the day of the show.
We even expanded it. It was like just in time 2 weeks late or something like that.
Oh, it sucks. So
there's also there's also one that just says like artist friend really dropped the ball on cover, and then there's just like a horrible looking cover. But yeah, being in a band is having a talented artist friend is definitely key if you can scoop one up.
100%. Like that's why it's good. Like one of my best friends takes all our pictures and does like a bunch of video stuff when we're, touring and everything. And actually he's done a few of our music videos. It's really important to have those people around you. Otherwise, it's important to try and not do everything yourself, because that's just like some like manic shit.
Did you grow up watching like music videos, or was there bands that you were trying to like? I felt like your videos kind of have like they remind me of like the lighthearted sort of like rebellious fucking like Catch-22, Blink-182 sort of vibe of like, because there's like like in their most recent video, there's like this character in a suit, and you guys are in the band and stuff. Were you inspired by some videos like that, or what were you watching growing up? So,
growing up, I definitely, was watching Sum 41, Good Charlotte, Blink, Green Day, like all that stuff. So until I think it was like fourth grade when I found those, when I'd be watching them on TV every morning. But before that, it was all like Van Halen and the Beach Boys, because my dad, that's like all he would play. And, but yeah, when I found those, I was like, oh shit. And so, yeah, getting into like, that's definitely like what made me get into music videos. And yeah, with that video we put out yesterday, yesterday. Yeah, it's been like 24 hours. It was, I was trying to like see, like I was listening to the song and I was just like, fuck, I'm not seeing like normally it's like a more clear thing to me. I'm like, oh, I want it to be like this with this kind of lighting and blah, blah, whatever. But with that one, I was like, for Low Key as Hell, I was like, you know what? I just want to make the video that fourth grade me would see and be like, this is my favorite fucking band in the world. You know what I mean? Because like there's a thing where I want it to be like quirky and like kind of funny, like weird, but I don't want to go full dick joke. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be like poop humor with it.
Yeah, like CKY or whatever.
Right. I want it to be like entertaining and like weird and like kind of funny, but not funny in that way. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a line you kind of have to set because it's really easy to box yourself in and
then you end up being 50 and telling poop jokes on stage on tour.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's, I don't know. And like, I feel like because like you really run that risk of having your stuff not be taken as seriously if you are like, there's too much emphasis on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So
I
try and, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I heard you say something about how you just weren't quite seeing it. I read something about you. I'm not so sure if it's true. Yeah. I read something about how you had something, I don't know what it was called, but it was like the music or something like that. You can like see it in colors. Is this real or is this an online rumor?
No, this unfortunately is a real thing. I didn't know what it was for the longest time, but actually, and with our photographer friend too, like we'd be 15 and we're like, dude, it's really weird. Like this song feels like it sounds so fucking whack. And I'm very sorry to anybody passively watching this who isn't already like, into what we do. I'm very sorry. But like, we'd be like, the song feels like it's like just like orange light. And, there's like, but there's also like yellow to it. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of a way of, and I didn't realize it was a thing until I think it was 2017 where we were doing an interview and I was trying to explain like why we did this, like it was a color choice on something.
And you just fell over and started being like, I can only see orange.
No, but the person was like, oh, like synesthesia. And I was like what now? And they were like, it's like where you can like see color with sound. And I'm like, I'm going to look that up. And I wound up like watching a few things on it. And I was like, I think that's what this fucking is. And so like, when we're designing the shows and everything, all the lights, I kind of try and like make it like, I know it doesn't have to be done, but it's a thing I like to do, for me where I'm like, oh, this song feels like this song is very like dark blue and it's got like kind of grays and whites and like maybe like some purple over here. Like the bridge is more purple. You know what I mean? So it kind of like helps guide the visuals.
So you're telling me that I'm on an auditory level, I'm colorblind. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know the science. I really don't.
Does it work in reverse where you see like where you see colors and you associate sounds with them as well? Or is it only like one way musically you hear like a color?
I've never thought about it, but I think it's just one way.
If so, our clashing backgrounds are probably making a fucking racket in his head.
It's like
right
a
now.
grindcore band.
That's what it would be. That's what it would be. But you guys, did you say you're from? I know Northeast, but was it New York?
Bill's from Boston. I'm from San Francisco.
San Francisco, weird. Wait, so are you guys like? Are you in San Francisco now?
I live in Pacifica. It's about 10 minutes south of San Francisco.
And I'm in Los Angeles now.
Okay.
Yeah, Bill moved to LA to make it big.
Yeah.
Hey.
You can see this background behind me. You know it's happening. So
yeah. No, it looks good. I don't have any soundproofing, but my neighbors don't seem to mind. That's crazy. I need to get some.
Yeah. Where do you play when you come to the Bay Area? Which now dead venue is it?
List the venues there, because I'm gonna be honest. When we're on tour, I'm kind of just like, oh god, okay, where are we? Okay, good, let's go do that.
Slims, Regency.
We did do that.
Yeah.
Great American Ballroom. No, what is it?
Great American Music Hall.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that one we've definitely done.
Fillmore's kind of
UC Theater.
Oh yeah, wait.
Berkeley.
Is Fillmore? Is there a Fillmore over there?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've done that.
That's like a big. It's really nice inside the Fillmore. It's like a big concert hall place. Looks really fancy.
Okay, cool. The area, the shows are so hit or miss there, but it's just like LA, where it's like it's either gonna go or you're gonna have the people that are like.
Whenever my band used to tour, I used to love going to places where, they don't have the option of 100 different shows a night, and they're just very thankful that you got there.
Dude, Charleston is stoked.
Yeah. I saw a video of you.
They need it.
I saw a video of you at some show, and you were having like the whole crowd yell, "Fuck Mark Zuckerberg." Can you tell me about that? What was going on there?
And Matt is a huge Mark Zuckerberg fan, so he's like, this is like his beef.
That's my uncle, dude. How do you think we got the money to start Hard Times? Yeah, come on, Uncle Zuck.
Podcasts are free to start. I've got a shitty ass podcast. Where
your
actually,
podcast is funny. I want to talk about that a little bit, but
there's that skateboard right there is from it.
Cool.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. Actually, I just put that up. That was me flexing. That took a long time to get that on the wall up there.
Tell us about Zuck, and then tell us about skateboarding.
I don't like Mark Zuckerberg.
But he's so handsome.
No, he's not. God damn it. Okay.
Dude, with the suntan lotion? Come on.
Okay, that's a great fucking picture. And by the way, in that picture, he has the fucking juiciest ass in the entire world.
Dude, thick Zuck.
It's so weird. I'm just like, why did you get thick? That's crazy.
My brother routinely sends me this meme that just says, "I'm a sick fuck. I like a thick Zuck," and then it's Zuckerberg with just like an inflated ass.
God damn it! No, man. But oh god, like even the stuff right now. Like, I mean, I don't know where. I mean, we probably shouldn't get too political or anything, but.
This is a right-wing podcast, by the way. You will be smeared for coming on here. Yeah.
Well, then.
All your mentions will be like, Austin, how could you associate with those people? These are vile creatures.
We're just getting back to chauvinists built America, and we're just trying.
God damn it. But
Austin Knight appears on alt-right podcast.
That's not going to be good. But I'm going to tell you guys the thing that I haven't actually put out there yet. But at the top of quarantine, I got the offer to write to do a graphic novel.
Cool.
And I was like, yes. And they're like, what do you want it to be about? I was like, I'm going to make it about trying to kill Mark Zuckerberg, but like Tom and Jerry style. And I've got a dog in it. And it's like a blue dog that helps me. And also like there's like a whole thing. There's like whole build. The whole thing's written. I just like didn't settle on an artist. So it's kind of like just sitting on my computer. But even like God is on my side because like he wants Mark dead. And it becomes like very like conspiracy, like Illuminati, like kind of driven. But
that's awesome.
So that just kind of stokes the fire more for our.
I'm excited to see it. Did you grow up reading a lot of graphic novels, or?
So I definitely had some years of it. By the way, I don't fully know the difference.
Yeah. I think graphic novels is what you start calling them when you're like 35 and you have to explain them to your wife. And I think comic books is when you're a kid.
Yeah, it's like a toy is called an action figure, sort of thing. And
then it's a collectible.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So, because I called it a comic to somebody, and they're like graphic novel, and I was like, got it. But
that person started trying to beat you mercilessly. You're like, I don't know what I did.
They were like, motherfucker, listen to me right now. It's a graphic novel for young adults. So I owned a lot of Spider-Man ones. That was the main one. I had some Hulk ones. I've never liked Batman.
He's just a rich dude,
That's what I'm saying. He's not a superhero. He doesn't have abilities. He doesn't have anything. He's just a rich dude, like buying like grapple hooks and shit. I'm like, what is like? There's nothing. He can't fly. Like,
it's time to save Gotham. I love when that remake where his voice was like incredibly deep. Hilarious, hilarious choice. I love it.
I know I'm definitely not the first person to say it, but I think people have gone into further detail about it. But if you like rewatched the last of the Christopher Nolan Batman movies, you'd be rooting for Bane so much more because you're just like, okay, so you got this guy that's trying to kill all the cops. Like, I'm on his fucking side. Get out of here, Batman, trying to save those idiots. Leave them in the fucking sewers, Like, Bane's trying to change society, and Batman's over here maintaining the status quo. Get the fuck out, Batman.
That's actually a crazy perspective. I'm going to write that down.
Batman's a 1%er coming
going back
to support the state apparatus.
Yeah. Oh my God. Damn, that's definitely a twist that I feel like they weren't counting on, like a perspective change.
Yeah, no. At the time, you're watching it, and you're just like, "Yeah, everything's fine. Obama's in office. The world's perfect." And then all of a sudden, things change, and how fast they change.
So, do you think Zuckerberg's going to let you boost and promote your comic book on Facebook?
So, we actually had an idea for the marketing to run it straight up only to Trump people, and just like let them be mad about it and let them build it up, but. Honestly, there's so many other things kind of got in the way as far as like projects go. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not more passionate about this than I am these things here. So I'm going to like, these go on the front burner. That one, it'll still happen maybe at some point, but yeah, it's hard to prioritize that when, we're working on other things and management's like, hey, by the way, we need this and blah. And I'm like, but my graphic novel, Mark Zuckerberg. You know what I mean? But it was definitely a fun side thing.
I need to write my stories.
Exactly.
I've heard a couple lines in some of your songs. Are you a collector? Are you like a t-shirt guy or something? I've heard a couple like references to you talking about t-shirts.
I do like clothing. I like shirts. I like jackets. I like jewelry. I haven't gone.
You buy like retro t-shirts or something?
Yeah, and I mean, like, there's not really like a set specific thing, but I'm just like, since I've like learned more about it, starting in like 2015, someone from management was like. I was like, hey, what kind of shirt is that? And he was like, oh, dude, it's like this and blah, blah, blah. I think it was like a Stussy thing or something. And then he was like, actually, here, like I've got like a Supreme shirt. Here you go. And I was like, oh, weird. Okay, cool. And, like I've started.
It's like handing crack out. He turned you into a hype beast. He's like, hey, kid, you want your first taste of Supreme?
Basically, yeah. And so...
So what I'm seeing actually right now is this is going to be a similar thing. So that started maybe a t-shirt thing. Matt mentioned Burlwood. So 3 years from now, there's going to be a record where you're just have like it's a concept album about Burlwood.
No, dude, 3 years from now, we're going to see Awsten. He's going to be wearing a Burlwood shirt. It's fucked up, honestly.
Wait, have you seen Dave? The show Dave?
I have not. I've heard good things about it, though.
It's very good, but there's one part where they have to watch like Trippie Redd's like his son or his nephew or something, and they take him out to like some kind of farmer's market thing, and he buys like a solid wood shirt, like it's like a solid thing like that. So when you say a Burlwood shirt, I'm like, oh,
hell yeah, dude.
It'd be really good.
It's like a level 1 armor you get in a video game. You start off with the wood.
But straight up, if I start referencing Burlwood in songs, oh my God, that's straight up like a Jay-Z thing. Like nobody that reads AP is gonna understand what I'm talking about, but it'll be tight. Damn, yeah. I kind of want to, like, I don't even have any. But like I just want to sneak it in there somehow and just be like but I do want to throw this out there. I don't care as much about shoes because they touch the ground and that's gross to me. Yeah, and so like I leave them at the front. Like I've got a pair of shoes that this might be like blasphemy, but like I wear it like around here during the day, like when I'm working on stuff, because I need to be fully dressed to like be working on shit. Because if I'm like in sweatpants, I'm not like, okay, now, you know what I mean? Like,
right. It's a mindset.
I've been rocking sweatpants for months, dude.
No, I'm saying me too though, but like I can't be working if I'm wearing, like if I'm not like clothed and like feeling like
I'm fully get dressed up in a suit and tie and you sit down and you start writing water park socks.
Have a full-time shoe shiner, just ready for you.
Like you go to an office that you don't work at. Hey George, how's it going? Yeah, the fucking mail's slow today, huh? Stupid fucking meeting. Blah. You sit down.
I got a pink fur coat that I like to wear when I make songs. It's pretty cool. But yeah, the shoes thing, I'm like real Jeremy about it. And I'm like, and if I step in a puddle, like they're fucked. So it's like, I can't spend like 150 on shoes You know what I mean? Or, like, I'll just be like, oh, like I feel weird about this. Like they're just gonna, like, especially like out here, like I live in Los Angeles. I'm like, the ground is just pee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, it gets to a point in LA where you're just like, it doesn't rain here all that often, but you're just like,
No.
the rain needs to fucking come and wash this away because it is just the stink has taken over the town. And, like after the heat wave, and it's just like, oh, it's all baked. It's just baked in.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But dude, the day Biden won, it rained.
Yes.
Like all day. And I was just like, it felt like a cleanse. Like when I drove to coffee in the morning, I had my windows down. I was just like, rain on me. Like the air felt better. I was like, they're washing away the piss.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very, very symbolic.
Yeah.
What part of LA are you in?
North Hollywood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just moved over to a spot over by like the LA River in Frogtown, and so when it starts raining, I'm very curious to see like how much garbage is floating down like this river. It will be interesting just to see the amount of pure trash that is flowing. Because right now the river looks nice, like it's lush, it's a whole ecosystem. But as soon as the rainy season hits, that thing is just going to be a complete trash bag. And
there's going to be at least two bodies.
I mean, there's people that live out in the middle, like on like the island, like they've built little things, and it's just like, oh, I hope somebody warns you that about the forecast, because you will die out here if this water comes rushing in. You're just going to be swept away. That's it.
Not if you watch enough Bear Grylls Urban Survival. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, that's probably what they're watching.
Come on.
On their TVs.
There was some Bear Grylls spinoff that was like after he was already rich and he no longer wanted to like drink camel piss or whatever the hell he was doing before, where it was just like, what would you do if you were trapped in an abandoned warehouse? There's this like short little burst of like Bear Grylls just like scaling walls and stuff. He really phoned in some of the later stuff.
Yeah, what if you're trapped in a 5-star hotel and you can't get to the lobby for the dinner service?
Oh my God.
Awsten, was listening to a little bit of your podcast. Hilarious premise.
Don't do that.
Hilarious premise.
You're an expert salesman as far as promoting it.
It's you and a buddy. I don't know what your connection to the buddy is.
So I've just known him forever. We both grew up in Houston, and he's basically just like my smartest friend. Like he edits government textbooks for a living. He's like an author. He's like a grammar guy. So when we read the fanfic, he's like very analytical, and we like critique their like the grammar, the storytelling, like the premise, the plot, like how likely something is, like just the writing in general. Yeah. So
for people who don't know, the podcast is two friends, but you guys are reading fanfic that people are writing about water parks and about you, which is hilarious.
Thank you.
I only got into one episode so far. But I was wondering if you could tell me if any of them stand out. Like, which one should I dig into and tell our podcast listeners one of the craziest pieces of fanfic?
Okay. So, I mean, a lot of them were just fucking each other on the bus or whatever. But there's sometimes they actually line up with like real events of things that we've gone through. Like one time our guitarist Jeff and I, we had to
fucking
drive.
Each other on the bus.
we were just like fucking but
just going to down. And meanwhile, like some young fan is like videotape or writing it down, like ready to document it.
Yeah, they have a cup on the bus and they're like,
okay, is that? Yeah, they are. They're sucking each other off is what they're doing.
A lot of sucking and fucking happening in that bus.
But no, so we were we finished one of our earliest tours. This is 2016 because we started touring January. We had been a band for a while, but we hadn't really left Houston. And 2016, like early January, that was our first tour, and we finished that. Then we had to drive. Like we ended somewhere, and then we had to drive a different van from I don't remember exactly what it was, but Las Vegas back to Houston, and then we were going to Warped Tour like the day after in Dallas. So we had to drive all night, but there got to be a certain point. So, I'm sure, like when you drive from Vegas through all of that shit, through like El Paso and everything, it's just mountains. It's like mountains and desert and like nothing. So there was a certain point, and we were safe. We filled up the gas and everything, but there got to a point where I was like, hey, we should stop like ASAP for gas, huh? And he's like, yeah. And, we're driving through the desert. It's kind of getting dark out. And we're seeing all these goats like on the mountains. They're like looking at, like, they have like their horns. And they're like, dude, they're going to eat us. This is horrible. like we're going to fucking be like goat lunch. But but there was one where Jeff and I were driving the van and it was running low on gas and we were in the middle of nowhere. And then we fuck in the story. But like when I was reading that, like before the fucking part, I was like, this all happened. Weird.
Until you find out that it's Jeff writing it.
Yo, I did write one. I wrote a really gross one and submitted it during the first season, and that was pretty funny.
Dude, I think I might have had a similar experience other than fucking Jeff on that particular mountain that you're referencing.
You never fucked Jeff?
I'm building up to it. Okay. If you can put in a good word for me.
I know. Pandemic is tough.
It's a pandemic.
Right.
There's a couple mountains, particularly along like the border, where there's no fucking gas. And I was in charge of one of the legs of this drive, and we were maybe like 6 hours into the drive. And I remember the signs being like, you should fill up here. And I was like, we're fine.
Oh, no.
I just kept going and going. Okay. And then I realized, I was like, oh, fuck. It was uphill, and we had all this gear in the van. And I was like, we're on empty. Like, we are straight up on empty, and we're still headed up this mountain, and I have no idea when the next gas station is, and the internet didn't work, so you couldn't look up how far away we were.
Yeah, and your phone doesn't work. That's the other thing.
Phone doesn't work in that area. Luckily, we get to the tip of this mountain where it starts to go down, and I just straight up put it in neutral, and we rolled for like miles and miles and miles.
Oh.
It was like we had climbed up for like 30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And right at the bottom, there's some gas station where it's like, it's like $15 a gallon.
Fuck.
One of those like trap gas stations.
As you're coasting down, you look over at Jeff and you're like, wow, he is handsome. And then all of a sudden you get to that gas station and it's on.
You get a little more desperate. Yeah. Wait, so what were you driving on? Like, what were you driving for?
I was on a tour. I played in a hardcore straight edge band. We did a couple of US tours, just small, DIY stuff. But yeah, like 8 dudes in the van, 2 bands worth of gear, and no gas. So
I hate that so much.
Yeah, you give all your profits that you made out of selling merch just to 3 gallons of gas at this gouger's place.
Exactly, dude. But driving where you guys are at, or I mean, at least like in the cold. So I hadn't seen snow until 2016. Like that just wasn't a thing. Like when we got into New Mexico and I stepped out and I was like, I was like,
your family didn't go to the snow when you were younger?
So when I was like real young, we went to Ohio because that's where my grandparents lived. But I mean, I didn't really remember it, I tried
feel
to make
every band that's somewhat related to AP is also somewhat related to Ohio. So it's just like a matter of time before you said that.
Yeah.
But I gotta say in Ohio.
It happens. Ohio's connected. But dude, driving through like icy shit, we were not ready for it. I think we were either up on like in like the Northeast or like Northwest or something, but it was one of the overnight drives in the van. And we were going like uphill. You couldn't see anything. It was just like snow and wind. It was icy and like just total darkness. You could see like fucking this far in front of you. And we're just like, oh, we're going to die. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sleep. I don't give a shit. If we die, like, I don't have to see it. I don't want my last moment to be like, like I want it to just be like, boom,
Yeah. Like, Jeff, I love you. Okay. Yeah.
And you got to tell the guys like, hey, if you're staying awake, don't scream when we crash because I don't want to be woken up at the last second. Just shut
the fuck up.
Die in silence like a man. Come on.
Do you guys ever have guests on the podcast that read their fan fiction straight to your face? And
yes. So, and normally it's really fun. And
then sometimes it's really not.
Sometimes it's really not. So I'm going to tell you the one that made me feel by far the weirdest. Like I'm fine with pretty much like anyone we've had on. I'm like, yeah, that's right, dude. You're sucking, like whatever. And, but the weirdest one was, so we had Joel from Good Charlotte on. And I didn't pick, like, I don't pick the stories like Travis, the other guy. He skims them, and like, 'cause he doesn't want to like give it away for himself. But he's like, cool. It's like a spooky one, or, you know, this one's like this is a whatever ship, you know? And, so I hadn't like pre-screened them or anything. And, so Joel came on and he was reading one about him and Benji, like in a venue shower. And I was like, and it was in person. It was last year. And I was just like, I was like, and like, I could tell, and Joel was being like so cool about it. He was just like, kind of like, and, you know, Travis was fine. He was just like, and then he touched his butt cheeks. And I'm just like, oh, fuck. Like, I'm like, this isn't good. I regret this.
So is this all like, is the source of this stuff mostly like 14 to 16-year-old girls on Tumblr or something? Or
so it's all on Wattpad and Archive of Our Own, but mainly
what
Wattpad.
is Wattpad?
Wattpad is where all the fan fiction's at.
Okay. All right, got to get on there.
No, you don't.
Matt considers himself kind of an author himself. So,
ooh, yo, one of y'all has to submit a story before we do the next season.
Yeah, I'll do it, but I'm gonna unveil it on the pod, and I'm gonna go until you guys stop me. You guys are gonna kick me out of the Zoom or whatever. It's gonna be too graphic.
That's not possible. There's one I remember because season 1 they didn't know it was coming. We just didn't say who they were. Like we left it, you know, like I think anonymous for the first season. But for the second season, everybody knew it was coming, and they wanted to try and get on the show, and so they were just writing like just over the top, way graphic. The first one they didn't know it was coming, so we were actually reading like, you know, what people were genuinely putting out there.
Which is like Awsten gave me a hug, and I knew we were going to be together.
It was still weird because that's like why we chose the premise. We're like, dude, these are fucked up. And, but yeah, they definitely like were a little more subtle with it. You know what I mean? Or it was like, and then like we held hands in the parking lot and he, you know, kissed my cheek and said goodbye, you know, your name here. But with the second season, they were like going over that. And we criticized them for it. We're like, we know what you're doing. Like, I don't like these stories. This one gets like a 2. But like there was one where like I ran my dick through a pencil sharpener. Like it was like in a school. It was like I think after school detention or something. And it was just like you know what I mean? Just like overly like graphic,
yeah, I mean bloody. I'm rock hard just hearing you say that.
Yeah, so. I mean I can keep going here. Like I'll say it slower too. Ran his dick through but so we criticized them for it. They still do it sometimes, but we try and get them to actually do good writing. And
someday one like world-renowned novelist will be like, I actually got my start with a little pencil story you might have heard about.
If that person becomes an author, I will freak out. But there is one that's actually, I heard this maybe 4 or 5 months ago, but Travis hit me up and was like, hey, one of these is actually being turned into like it's like a spin-off. One of the fanfics is being turned into like a spin-off of a book that's like been picked up by a publisher. I'm like, dude, if some 50 Shades of Grey thing happens based on like, and then Austin and Jeff were fucking kissing and then Autumn climbed in, like,
I mean, this brings up the way my brain's working is, have there been discussions about a band-based OnlyFans for water parks?
I thought about making one just for, I think it was like elbows or knees or something like that. But I think someone told me that people would be too mad about it, and I was like, I don't.
Oh, right, because you'd be taken. Yeah, because you're not a real sex worker, and that's when you come right back and you'd say, you don't know my fucking history. I'm too real. Yeah, I'll suck you off right now.
My elbow is more provocative. Okay, nobody sees this thing.
I could fight it, but some things are just like some bits just aren't worth it. You got to pick your bit.
You're like a 3-day long Twitter beef trying to prove that you're a real sex worker.
My mom would be calling me like, "What?"
Sorry, Mom. Had to prove them.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Well, it would be.
You guys have OnlyFans?
You know, I mean, I've been building up content for a little while. Bill and I, we'll see.
Yeah,
Hard Times OnlyFans.
It's going to be hot. We'll see. But I'm
people don't even click our articles, so they only want the headlines, let alone our dicks.
Yeah.
the $20 for a month thing just to just see some substandard penises is not going to be.
Here's my real concern with OnlyFans is it's like $10 a month or whatever, but then once you get in there, it's like $20 a video or something. Like is
it?
Yeah, it's like pay. Here, let me break it down for you, Austin, because I'm subscribed to like, I don't know, maybe 100, 150 OnlyFans. Right? Okay. So you subscribe, and the content creator decides the subscription price, but then they also just decide a price on each piece of content. It could be free, but usually they're like, here's me, drooling on a knob, $20. So I have to pay the $50.
Wait, is that what you think? Like that? Like is that like hot to you? It's like you just like somebody drooling on a knob. What does that even mean? Drooling on a knob, like a doorknob?
Look,
like,
Bill, when you have as many OnlyFans subscriptions as I do, you no longer are looking for just blowjobs. Okay, you're looking for people fresh out of dental surgeries who are.
Dude, if you're subscribed to like 150 OnlyFans, like even when you close your phone, I feel like you would just see buttholes everywhere you go. Like everything is just butts.
Not so bad. Not so bad. Okay, Austin.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about this thing. Okay, you mentioned Jeff. I scrolled. I was writing a piece of fan fiction about you, and I scrolled deep into your Instagram, and I saw a picture of you and Jeff in a hospital, and you're like, "Hey, my boy Jeff came and helped me out in a hospital." This was like 2013. I want to know what you were in the hospital for.
Okay. So
wow, you did a real deep scroll here. I mean,
dude. I used to shitpost like crazy. Like I kind of miss it.
It looks like maybe someone. I'm not saying management. Maybe someone cleaned up your past internet history a little bit, because I saw a caption. It was like 1,000 posts, but you know what? It was only about 20 posts after.
See, that's the thing is. Well, I was also I did that when I was like I wanted to be like more okay. If you have like 10,000 posts, a lot is going to get lost. And so I kind of was like, you know what? I want to pick the things that I really want people to see. You know what I mean? Even if it's like stupid, like I like picked the things that I wanted and more so like weeded out like filler posts for the sake of posting.
Do you guys ever think about how historically we're going to go back and there's going to be like a couple year period where every single picture is put under the same Instagram filter?
Wait,
there's
what?
There's like a period of time, 2013, 2014, where every picture that people are uploading and saving is all put through like the 6 Instagram filters that were out there.
Yeah, and the white borders.
Yeah, all that stuff kind of faded out. It's all kind of passé now. People just put up pictures.
Now, some of mine are still on there. If you scroll back, you're going to see like, I don't know, my cat or like, some guitars or whatever, but they're probably going to have that white border. I think I posted Goofy making a sexual face. I'm trying to remember everything I put up back then.
Tell me about the hospital trip.
Right. So that's actually like one of the things that helped kind of jumpstart the band a little bit was so I had like a tumor under my kneecap. It was benign, but it was like under my left kneecap, and it was like hurting to walk. Like I would go, like I would jog. I would go to the like exercise, and I'd be like, "Fuck, this hurts." And so when I finally did go to the doctor, they were like, "Oh yeah, that's a tumor. You have to get that out. Your kneecap is like this thin. It's about to bust."
And then they're like, "The only way I can get it out is with right back into the fan fiction." Okay, sorry, keep going.
Fuck. So, goddamn. But it's like it made, because I had quit community college, and my parents were like, "You have to go back," blah blah blah, like that kind of thing. And then it was sort of like, oh, but the date of the surgery was like 2 days before the next semester was going to start. And so I was like, I physically cannot do that. I will not be able to drive. I will be on heavy, whatever the drugs are, like the pain stuff. Like, and dude, I was on my ass for like 6 months doing like physical therapy and all that. But that's when I had time to write and record our first EP. So like that actually was like it wound up being like such an important thing to happen. And
damn, dude, do you have 4 matching rings on right now?
Yeah, the eyeballs.
Man, I've tried to get on your level. Okay. Pretty cool.
Yo,
See,
but you're on that burlwood shit. Like we're both leveling up in different fields.
sometimes I think about, you guys ever think about this about yourself? About how you're kind of like becoming a boring character, and how if I had more just insane things about myself, I would be less bored with myself, you know?
You seem like advocating for like getting like a rare exotic animal in your house or something like that.
Or 4 matching eyeball rigs.
I'm like, this is my monkey.
Trick.
God damn. Yeah, no, actually, so what I would do was every time we like did something tight, I was like, you know what? Go get another eyeball. And I've wanted to go get a green one, but I mean, I'm trying to respect the quarantine as much as possible. You know, I go to the grocery store when I have to. I try not to do too much shit. But yeah, once all this is lifted, I'm gonna go get another one. I'm gonna get a green one.
All right, dude. Well, I bet you. So I think we've recorded like a couple podcasts this week. So I bet you this podcast is gonna come out in like 3 weeks or something. So let's just pretend that we recorded it like 3 weeks into the future, and
when everything's on fire.
So I'll be like, so Austin, has the Civil War brigades reached your home yet? And
I'm like, shh, they're outside.
how was your Thanksgiving? I know that you refused to not have one. You invited 100 people over, and it's been in the news recently that 12 of them are dead.
Yeah, but I mean, they're all YouTubers. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're given the Nobel Peace Prize for this.
It's like the laws came out, and they're like, thou shalt not congregate in more than 10 people indoors, unless you're a YouTuber or a TikToker, in which case, feel free. Breathe, take a deep breath.
I want to throw this out there. I'm starting to appreciate TikTokers because I used to have them on the same level as YouTubers for me. But dude, TikTok is actually so important for music. It's
didn't one of your guys' songs like become like a pretty decent sized thing on TikTok?
Dude, and it wasn't even a single, and now it's like, and it was the most popular song from that album.
What do people do when do they lip sync your song, or do they twerk to it? What's going on?
Both. Actually, there was this dude, like there were a couple where I saw him and I was like, fuck, I don't like that. But like there was this one dude that was like humping in his bathroom to it. Like,
yeah,
that was me
after the interview. Yeah.
I didn't know you saw my TikTok, man. Yeah.
Dude, big fan. But no, it's actually so good because it's so music focused. And it's caused like so many people to like sprout up. And I'm not saying that's 100% like, you know, I love 100% of what has popped up, but I think it's really like an important thing because, and I've talked about this before, but people referred to people as like MySpace bands. You know what I mean? But there was no Facebook bands. There's no Twitter bands. But the thing is, TikTok is like the first thing since then. It's been like 10 years at least where it's like actually giving platforms to music creators. Yeah. And I think it's so important where like, I mean.
Yeah, that's badass. I never really thought about it that way. I had read a little bit about how some music industry people were starting to begin to believe in the power of it. But it is interesting because, man, MySpace, it almost felt like it was centered around bands. There was like a whole culture there where it was like, you know, the bands could upload their songs right onto their page and everyone would follow these bands and write on their comment boards and shit.
Right.
And then you upload that song to be like your theme music when somebody comes to your page.
What was your profile song, Austin?
It would let you have more than one. At a certain point. So I remember I had...
That was later days. That was after the Black Eyed Peas took over the homepage.
That's true, actually.
Do you remember that?
So I do. I remember I would do Dr. Acula a lot.
Okay.
So it would be just like super obnoxious, like Shocker on Shock Street or like piano lessons or whatever. But then I would also do Foxy Shazam. Like there was a lot of Driver F. What else? Yeah, I mean, just whatever. Oh, some Karate High School. I got to go back and listen to them again.
You got to find your MySpace page.
I do. I need to make a playlist.
MySpace tried to, like, they were having like economic problems, so they took every photo that was uploaded to MySpace and they shrunk it down into like a 10 by 10 pixel photo. Like they didn't delete them, but it's like really, really reduced quality.
Why would they not just delete it at that point? Just like, oh my God. Dude, I'm really worried that Instagram is going down the MySpace path. Like when it becomes more like when you focus less on the user experience and more on like, you know, how many spots you can put ads, like that's when people like stop going to your shit. And that's like a big, like it's not the entire thing, but it's a big part of what happened with MySpace. And like Instagram now, like my entire bottom row is like, you want a t-shirt? How about you want another you want some t-shirts? You want to buy this thing? And like when I, like, you know, yesterday we put out a music video and plug. And I was trying to post a story about it. And I was like, motherfucker, how do you do this?
Yeah,
and
I was trying to post a story this morning. I was like, where is it? Where did it go?
And like now it's all on the same thing. Like you have to click on the one little plus and then like under, like on top of like all your photos in your library, it's like stories. And it's like, it kind of like blends in. It's like stories, posts, live. It's like barely about like people posting.
I love the idea. I mean? I love the idea that there are certain people out there who are like, I want to post a story. And they're like, actually, I will buy a print-on-demand T-shirt that says,
yeah, I'm an August man and my crazy bitch who brought me this.
Aries or like, you know, Capricorns fuck better. Like, yeah, you know, actually, I'm just going to scoop that up now that I'm here.
But, dude, another thing that's crazy about that is Instagram doesn't even regulate their sellers. So it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I bought one thing on there off an Instagram ad, and it was such a mistake. Now it's not. In the long run, it wasn't. But in like early April, I bought 2 colored lights. I kept getting the ads for it where you could like, you know, do the remote and they would be in your corner. You know what I mean? Like the LED things, I think. But I paid, it was like a 2-week shipping time. I was like, cool. So I got 2 of them. And like the thing is, it wasn't like crazy expensive, but I was like stoked to get them. So I think like 2.5 weeks went by and I was like, oh, I never got those things.
Matt's going to show you his.
Yo, dude, very sick.
We clicked on the same ad. I got them.
I like it. But they because like there are these like tube ones though. They're like in tubes.
Oh, so you're the fancier ones. Whatever, Austin. Come on, you know.
Hang on. The only reason I'm clarifying is so I can tell you about the packaging later.
Yeah.
So it 2.5 weeks went by. I emailed them back and I was like, hey, like, can I get tracking for this? You know, but like, you know, just so I can see where it's at. And I immediately got one of those like delivery failed, whatever emails like back. And I was like, oh, weird. Okay. So I Googled the website, I click it and it's like, this is no longer an active domain, whatever, that kind of thing. And I was like, fuck. And so I kind of just like hoped it would be good, but I was like, man, I need to like go to the bank and like cancel that shit. And finally, like this was like 2.5 months later, I see the same ad and I messaged them and I was like, yo, where are my fucking lights? And they were like, what's your order number? And I sent it to them and they're like, oh, so this is for a different company. They're like scamming, but I'm like, cool, I'm going to report your shit. And I'm going to go to the bank and like get that stuff. And they're like, well, hang on, like don't blah, blah, blah. And then I think it was 6 days later, I got the weirdest package I've ever gotten in my life. It was like this fucking tall. It was huge. And it was covered in like a green tarp that was like had tape around it. And it was like splintering off. It's kind of like, you know, in like movies or shows when they're like buying weapons on the black market, it's like a bazooka. It was like that kind of packaging. It was like very long and like just shitty looking. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
UPS guy wants to fight you when he delivers it because he's just so pissed off that he has this thing.
It's like the equivalent of like glitter. He's like trying to get all this shit off him. But no, but yeah, it was finally the lights, and I was like, "You motherfuckers!" But I don't know how we got there.
You should have had a social media freak out about it. That's one of the things I like about Twitter is like you follow people like, hey, I like this person's band. I'm going to go ahead and follow them. And then all of a sudden you see like, oh, at Delta Airlines, it turns out I don't get the right seat, huh? Maybe I should get 2 snacks. And then it's like, can all my followers at Delta Airlines? I was like, dude, why am I part of your customer service?
I was straight up going to say, just so you can watch band guys be mad at airlines. And like Jeff did it recently. Not recently, I'm sorry. It was maybe like a year and a half ago. And I was like, hey, don't be that band guy. Like, we'll figure it out. Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, yeah. He's like, I was
You're
just
on
mad.
Twitter like, hey, light effects.
Yeah.
Where?
Hey, Adobe, what the fuck?
Didn't Lizzo get in trouble for that? Because she was like, where's my fucking Grubhub or something like that? She was like, you're 10 minutes late, you stupid fuck.
No. Man, I got in trouble for that once. But not that specifically, but no, this is 100% this guy's fault. The only people that were like mad at me are just fucking dorks. So I was this was on a tour. I was stuck at a Target. Oh yeah, it was fucking Warped Tour, of course, 2018. And I was at a Target Starbucks, and I was like, I'm gonna call a Lyft to get back there. And the guy was like, he didn't want to pick me up for some reason. He was like, cancel your ride. I was like, why? And he was like, you, what was it? Oh, it's because I didn't have a picture. I think I didn't have a picture, but you don't have to. It's in their rules. You don't have to have a picture on there. And I was like, here's a picture of me. And I was like, like in the thing. And he was like, cancel your ride. And I was like, I went to do it. And I was like, this is going to charge me money just because he doesn't want to come get me. And I was like, no, what the fuck? And my name on there is my middle name. You know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, well, he was like, and it's a fake name. I'm like, it's not a fake name. Like, it's on my driver's license. What the fuck? He was like, cancel it. I'm like, no. And so I wound up kind of like messing with him a little bit. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't anything bad, but I was just like, I kept sending pictures. I was like, come on, please. Like,
let me in your car, stranger. Come on.
And he wouldn't do it. But then Twitter was on me for like, it was like 2 or 3 days where people were like, fuck you, you stupid piece of shit. Like, you don't know how hard it is. I'm like, fuck him. Like, he's trying.
Well, Austin, you're not a real sex worker, okay? So shame on you. Right?
I'm not a sex worker like that guy.
I had a similar thing happen. I don't know if it. So I one time requested an Uber, and like 10 minutes later, the guy just said, cancel it. I said,
yeah, and it's
what?
like, why?
I said, did something go wrong? And he goes, just cancel the ride. And so I hit cancel, and it said, are you sure? Because you're going to get charged $5. And
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm not going to get charged just because you're being an asshole.
I said, it says it's going to charge me, though, so maybe you should cancel it. And he says, no, you should cancel it. And I said,
because
why?
it affects their score. Yeah.
And then he goes, I'm not going to drive 30 minutes out of my fucking way to pick you up. I go, well,
why did you accept it? Yeah.
I didn't like schedule. I don't know how Uber works. You know, all I did was press a button.
Yeah. He didn't have to accept it. He can see where you're at.
If you're listening to this and you're an Uber driver, Matt from the Hard Times and Austin and Bill from the Hard Times, we fucking disrespect you, you know? Let's
God.
If you have any problems with any of the views expressed on this podcast, at Austin on Twitter.
Oh, God damn it.
Okay. Hey, man.
That's why we all voted yes on 22, was just to fucking stick it to those guys.
I was a no on 22 until I saw Austin's Twitter, and then I flipped to yes on 22.
God damn it. They were so tricky with those ads too.
Oh, dude, those are a nightmare. Those it's like for anybody that isn't familiar with the California Proposition 22, it is a bad sign of political things to come. If this is,
it was crazy. Like they made like, cause I was actually trying to be as involved as I could this year. And, you know, I was researching the things. And I kept seeing the ads that were like, oh, this is pro delivery people. I was like, cool. I want to do what's good for them. And then I think it wound up being like what's actually good for the company, but they just put so many ads into it that no one knew what the fuck they were actually talking about.
I looked into it a lot, and it certainly is confusing. I'm not entirely sure that Twitter has this one 100% right, because I was a freelancer myself and I've hired some freelancers. I was curious about this. And so when we would go on company trips or tours, or I would travel, I always would use Lyft or Uber. Yeah. And I asked personally probably between 75 to 100 Uber drivers this question. Every Uber I got into them, I said, okay, do you prefer to be an independent contractor, or would you prefer to be a part-time employee? And I don't know if this is just bad sampling. I don't know if they're afraid if I was a government agent or like a member of.
Because I don't think many people would ask them that. They'd be like, you're like, so how do you feel about? And they're like, oh, I like it.
I couldn't find a single person that told me that they would actually prefer to be a part-time employee or a full-time employee. almost everyone I talked to said, I only want to do this for like 2 hours at the end of my day sometimes, just so I have another $50 to like buy my kids shoes. It was usually like, look, man, this isn't my full-time gig. I did find some full-time people who were like, they used to be taxi drivers, but then they would also often tell me about how the taxi gig wasn't that great either, because you had to pay these very expensive government fees to like own these taxi medallions or whatever. I really tried to dig into it, but pretty much the internet is very sure that these people shouldn't be independent contractors, which they have good reason to say that. But I haven't found any of them in person who've been willing to tell me that they would want to be full-time employees of Uber.
So there's where the you're not wrong, but there's a little bit that you're missing in that, and it's about the way the law is written. It's how much it fucks the people who even want to, like, it rewrites the law for Uber and Lyft to be able to control everything, as opposed to giving workers the rights. Like it's tough for me to explain because I'm not a law professor of any kind. I write bad jokes on the internet, but
I enjoy them. That's like how I know. Yeah.
Thanks.
But overall, it's a very business, even if these people are like, well, if Uber and Lyft went away, then we wouldn't have this job. It's something fucking nefarious about it.
I definitely do not think that it's healthy for the economy to have a bunch of people who are independent contractors who aren't putting away money for savings, who don't have health care, who don't have benefits. I just generally agree with that. But what I'm also saying is it's not so cut and dry as I think a lot of people make it out to be, because if you just want to do it for 2 hours a week, would you really want to be a part-time employee? And a lot of these people were telling me, no, I wouldn't.
It's probably just mixed answers depending on like what their intention is with it. You know what I mean? Like that would change like what somebody wants out of it. So
there were some full-time taxi drivers who, like Uber, like preyed on their business and tried to drive their business out of business. So then those people really got screwed. So I'm sure those people would prefer benefits and stuff. Except, thank you for tuning in to the Hard Times fucking Prop 22 debate. I don't know. Dude, all that stuff is like, I'm always like, I hope I'm voting the right way. I don't know.
Yeah, like, like you're trying to be responsible, but I don't know.
Sometimes I just use voter guides.
Yeah, at the end of the day, my main reason for voting no was the fact that I don't want Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash to basically write a law for California, which is what they have. So I don't want that business, Matt will tell you this, Awsten, that when we have traveled together and it's just like, we will look it up and be like, oh, it's 7 miles away. And Matt will be like, let's get an Uber. I'll be like, I'll walk, and it's just like,
that is true. Yeah.
You're in the winter.
I'm more I'm more of a Uber user than you are, huh?
Oh God. Yeah. You have to use it, dude. I don't know how you guys do the cold like that. Even if it was like a mile and a half and we're on tour and it's like, 30 degrees. I'm like, no.
Why is Awsten keeps referencing the cold as if Bill and I live in like the North Pole or something? What are you referencing?
I used to live in Massachusetts. I grew up there, but now I live in Frogtown in Los Angeles.
Fuck me. Sorry. Yeah. My head was still over there.
Yeah. I love that he just thinks that if the camera moves 1 second, we're going to be like in an igloo or something.
No, but the thing is, I don't know. I feel like when I read the Hard Times, like it feels like it's coming from Boston. Like I get that vibe.
Well, you know what I mean? I'm still the main editor, and I'm the angriest Boston guy there is on the staff. So it makes sense.
It lines up. So I look at you guys. I'm like, oh, they're cold.
It's a cold website.
So they wrote this, and they went and shoveled their car out before they went to their warehouse job. They're pissed off all the fucking time.
You have like a knife in your car to like scrape off the ice.
We definitely have a decent chunk of riders too who are East Coast and very cold.
How many riders you guys have?
We have a ton. Freelancers.
That's why Matt voted yes on 22.
It fluctuates. We have an inactive group of maybe like 400, active group of maybe like 100. Is that about right, Bill?
75 on a good week.
Wait, 75 writers?
Like contributors,
chip
like
in.
actively like pitching headlines to us for approval and stuff like that.
Kind of like an Uber situation.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I'll like tell them like cancel your headline, and they're like, what? And I'm like, cancel your fucking headline. Like, this doesn't even make sense. I was like, I'm gonna get charged for this.
God damn. Wait, so can you tell me one that like you loved that didn't go up? Like, is there anything like that?
Yeah.
I there's so many. My head's clouded with them. Like, I wouldn't be able to think of one on the
Right.
spot.
Let me think of one that I really pushed for that. Well, every Marilyn Manson sucking his own dick joke was I brutalized the editorial team to get it across. And then there was quite a few that I couldn't quite do that to. Here, wait, give me a second. I'll find you one.
Yeah, I know there's one, like we had like a list of ones that we'd like never be able to run that we found funny, but I don't even know if that list exists.
We should well let's leave them off here then. I don't want the people watching this to freak out.
The blacklist headlines are pretty good.
Oh man, dude, I can't tell you like how. I'm trying to think. I think I found when did you guys start?
2014.
I'm trying to think of when. 2014.
Yeah, December 14th,
2014.
2014. So we're coming up on our 6-year anniversary.
Nice. I think I found y'all in like 2016, and like since then, like so many like band friends and I was like send each other the headlines like constantly back and forth.
I'm so glad you like it. That was the idea.
Yeah, no, it's so good.
Shared experiences of being on tour and all that sort of stuff. Experiencing grumpy sound guys, stuff like that.
It's always the greatest compliment when bands say that, like, yeah, our group chat is mainly hard times headlines. Like, oh, that's great to hear.
It's so, dude, one that like I fucking cried was it was like Travis Barker asked if he could just like play regular for a minute. I fucking freaked out.
Yeah, that like on their new album, there's I think it's their new album. There's a couple songs where he's like fucking going off.
Yeah.
There was a headline that I wanted to run that literally no one else liked or even understands.
Okay.
But it's not offensive either. It was just it was something like extra bite of sour candy, not worth getting hand all sticky.
Oh yeah, okay. I fought against this one because this was
so stupid.
Yeah, this was clearly like Matt was in a dark room. It's like 3 a.m. Matt's watching Netflix on like a dim laptop, and it's like on his lap. He's in like all sweatpants, and he's got like this king size family pack of Sour Patch Kids like in his hand, but it's like to the bare minimum where like the Sour Patch Kids at the bottom are so covered in sugar that you're just like, oh man, do I even go right now? Like, wouldn't it be nuts if I kept eating these Sour Patch Kids?
Yo, I want you to run that so badly.
I think it would have been a hit, but it was like
to be a full article. Like
I couldn't get a single person to back me up on it. So
I'll be the first.
If Bill wasn't around and I just ran what I wanted to run, the website would be a complete flop. There's a lot of quality control that goes on.
No, fuck that. That's stifling right there. Like, dude, you know what? Let me help you write that one.
Yeah, you want to get in on this?
And then it turns into you just kissing Jeff the entire time. I don't think so.
Damn it. Yeah, no, that's a very relatable one. I like that.
That's like the worst headline I've ever come up with. I appreciate the support.
No, it's very relatable for me, especially now since like we're not even touring, so it's harder to relate to like, oh, like your merch guy is doing whatever. Like it's unsure if you want to reach in and get that sticky like that fucking gusher, the last gusher, like when like the whole rest of the thing is covered in like
because it gets all over the sides of your hands.
It does.
I tried to tell, dude, 15, 20 minutes in an editorial meeting, I'm trying to tell Bill. He doesn't let me do it, I would go like you. No more basis. You guys don't have a basis, right? Just start cutting people out who are not letting me run sticky hand headlines.
You don't need them. Just do it yourself. Like I record the bass and we just fucking run it through. I'm like, fuck a bass player. Let's go. Like, so I mean, yeah, if you can do that, then why not?
All right. Yeah. Well, I'll hit you up to help me brainstorm some candy-based headlines. But until then, tell the people, thanks for coming on the podcast. Tell the people
Yeah, of course.
what they can look forward to, what they should go check out.
Ooh, well, if this comes out in a couple of weeks, I hope you guys liked our live CD DVD that dropped a couple weeks ago. It's pretty dope. Spent like 6 months on all the editing and everything. A lot of VFX and stuff. Pretty crazy.
What's it called?
What else we got? Fandom live in the UK.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the last album was called Fandom, and it's live in the UK. And what else we got going on? We got if you're in the UK and want to see a show next year, the See You in the Future tour is in like June or July. Also Europe. Yeah, I mean, go watch the music video. Hopefully, it's got a lot of views.
What should they Google search if they want to check it out?
Right, sorry. Waterparks, low key as hell. That is the video.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, man. Nice. Well, it was great hanging out with you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much for having me.
You bet. Come back sometime and let's stay in touch.
I'm going to have my background ready next time.
I'll mail it to you. It'd be so funny to get you one. We should have done that before the podcast.
I would have loved that so much. For the next one, I need one of those backgrounds.
Or we should have an episode where we have a different guest and we don't tell anyone, but you're just one of the co-hosts and we just don't acknowledge it about the background.
I'm down. Someone's gonna tweet it and be like, "What the fuck? Like, what is happening right here?"
All right. Well, it was great hanging out with you, and try to survive the pandemic, huh?
You too. You guys be safe.
All right. See you, Austin.
All right.
Later.
Peace.